Assalamu alaikum. So I'm going to be talking about associations with God. Shirk is a very delicate topic in Islam, and I'll be talking about things that may confuse some people in Islam about shirk, but try to understand that I'm speaking from the Quran and and from the Bible some. So, these things are there in our religion. It's just a matter of understanding them. I'll start off with the dua. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. So it is clear that shirk is not acceptable in Islam, but there are words in the Quran that talk about we or our or us when God refers to himself. And some people say that's in the royal sense, and it could be taken in the royal sense as well. And the Bible also talks about our in reference to God referring to himself. But it is also there that, it is in the sense of one who associates with him metaphorically. And there is a verse in the Quran that I've referred to in the past in my teachings, and it's from Araf 7, chapter 733 verse. Say, my Lord forbids only indecencies, such of them are apparent and such are concealed, and sin and unjust rebellion, and that you associate with Allah that for which He has sent down no authority, and you say of Allah what you know not. So you see, there is a sense that Allah is conveying up here that there is a sort of association that He has given authority for some people to talk about, and this is but in the sense of what is not allowed is saying that there's another God palpably along with God, or ostensibly, or in the sense of a categorical statement that Jesus is God or Krishna is God, or there are millions of gods in the Hindu culture, and these are all fallacies. While we know that when God refers to himself as we or us in the Quran, it refers to when a servant becomes loyal to him and obeys him, he becomes sort of associated with him. And that is how it refers to it, or as the angels doing his bid become one with him. So I've talked about Jesus using tropes, and the tropes that he's used are I am the Father, and so forth. I am the Father of one, and when you come to me, you see the Father. These are all tropes or understandings that he was one with him. And this is also verified in the Hadith of Prophet Muhammad, where he clearly talks about this sort of association, that when a servant walks, he walks with the feet of Allah, and when he talks with the words of Allah. So it is, in a sense, he is Allah, but he is not. It's only a metaphor that he is associated with Allah, and he is conjoined with Allah, or fused in repose, or one with him. And this is how Jesus has referred to these matters to the Bani Israel people of his time, and it was totally new for them. These are things were unknown to them in his vernacular, but it made sense in the Quran, and makes sense to people who listen around, that these are permissible associations that occur with mankind, and Prophet Muhammad also was one with him. Though Prophet Muhammad would adjust the law, if Allah gave him a law, he would adjust it for inability of the people to succumb to the law. Like, for example, when he told his companions not to sit on the roadside and talk, and they said that they have to do that, or they said that they won't be able to sit anywhere else. This is their norm or their culture. And so he said, then at least keep your eyes downcast. So you see, he did adjust the law for his people. And though he was one with him, whatever God bid him to do, he did. So these are things that I have also said that I am Allah, which is, shirk. But I say it only in a metaphorical sense, not in the sense of shirk, because I know I am here on earth, I'm a human being, and I'm not God. I may have a soul from God, but that does not make me God, because for all intents and purposes, I'm a human being, and I am not the creator who created humanity, and that the same applies to Jesus as well. He did not give birth to people during his time, while people were being born, children were being born at that time, and he was not a party to it. It was obviously the creator who is giving birth to people through the DNA car that they have, and that from our creation, from our parents. So we are human beings. I've used this metaphor in the sense of being one with him as well, or a servant who walks with the feet of Allah and talks with the words of Allah. Because I do have this association as well, that I am one with him in the sense of a metaphor. And that I am his feet and I am his words. So this is, but this is actually the destiny of mankind, to be like that. Because when you do not your will and you do the will of your Father, or your will of your Creator or your Rabb, then you become then you have this ability to be his feet and to be his words. And that is a destiny in heaven for all of us, that we will be doing his will, and whatever he asks us to do, we will do, or we will be one with him metaphorically. But there are few people who can do it on earth, and Prophet Muhammad was one of them. Isa and myself, I also claim that I also have the ability to be one with him. And Isa did perfect himself when he went to India after the crucifixion process. But he did do, but he did make errors before. But that's a part of life. As humanity, we do make errors. But he did the will of his Father. And when you fuse with him, or when you do his bid, and your essence becomes him, or your soul becomes him, and you lose your own volition to do things, and you become his volition. So this is how you fuse with him, and whatever he asks you to do, you do to the best of your ability, and so forth. You become one with him. And this is what Jesus meant when he said that I and the Father are one. And he was one in action with him, that you cannot pluck out the sheep from his hand as you cannot pluck the sheep out of his Father's hand. So this is how you become one with him. And it's also in the Quran. So I'm not just saying this on my own. These things are in the Quran. In Surah Anfal, verse 17, I've talked about this before also. But verse 15 says, "Oh, you who believe, when you meet those who disbelieve marching for war, turn not your backs on them." Then verse 17 goes on to say, "So you slew them not, but Allah slew them, and you smote them not when they did smite the enemy, but Allah smote them." Smote means hit, and that he might confer on the believers a benefit from himself. Surely Allah is hearing and knowing. So you see, Allah becomes one with the believers in battle when it's a just battle for the defense of Islam and for the defense of faith, like they had in Badr, the first battle that they fought with the Quraysh or the Meccans. So that's how you become one with him. And so this is in the Quran. I'm not saying this on my own accord, but one can become one with him. And it is for us to understand that one day, metaphorically, we will all be Him, but He'll be separate always. We will never we will never annihilate ourselves. We will remain independent for all eternity. And it is not like Rumi said that I'm a river and I will empty into the ocean. We don't want to annihilate ourselves, and that is not the concept in the teaching that we have in Islam, because we become one with Him, or we are Him, or we are we with Him, or us with Him, and heaven abode with us. So these are concepts that I'm trying to clarify, that it's not shirk, because I know that God is up there and He's one, and I am not Him. God is one. That's what the Quran says categorically again and again, and that's what the Old Testament says as well, and Jesus said it as well. So we know that this sort of association is permitted by God when it's in the metaphorical sense. And Luqman says to his son that, and if they strive with thee to make thee associate with me that of which thou hast no knowledge, obey them not, and keep kindly company with them in the world. He's referring to the parents. If they strive with thee to make thee associate with me, of which you have no knowledge. So you see, there is some knowledge that God permits us, where we can become one with Him, like Anfal says, I smote them and you do not smite them. And this is actually in a sense of saying that God accomplishes the deed when you are one with Him. So Jesus did that, and He paid a price for being extremely smart and intelligent, and but He broke boundaries for them, and that's why they were against Him. And also He was very critical of them for their impiety and for their taking usury and things of that nature that they were doing. So this is a lecture on association with God, how one day all humanity will be one with Him and will do His bid and not do their own bid. And that's what we want to accomplish in this life. When we follow His laws, we want to do His bid, and we want to become one with Him. And we strive to do that. And like I said, few can do it completely, but do strive to follow His laws and become one with Him, or become we with Him, so that He can refer to you as His people, and we would be at His feet in loving company with Him. Okay, that was pretty much the khutbah for today, and or the talk or discussion that I had today, and I do appreciate you listening on. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.